Okay. Just,
I'm fucking pissed. I mean, there isn't a fucking scale on this goddamn planet that can measure how fucking pissed I am right the fuck now. Hey, so yeah. I can't get any of these cowardly fucks to debate me unless someone can give me a good fucking reason to keep doing this. I'm fucking giving it up. I don't I got better things to do with my time. Nobody ever cites my work. My angles to Polaris video. Nobody ever cites that. It's not the best one in the world, but it's fucking something, with a physical model. And it gets a lot of compliments. So I know it's not complete shit. Nobody ever plays my videos on their live streams. Or even little bits of it. When was the last time anybody shared any of my videos? My most popular video is the angles to Polaris video. And it has less than 1,000 fucking views and it's 2 years old. And I've got a shit community fucking not doing anything to fucking keep me doing it. Like I said, unless someone can give me a good fucking reason why I should keep streaming, I'm done. So, thanks for the fish. I'm so pissed off right now. I've got a shit community. Made me look like a fucking asshole. Motherfucker! Fucking asshole! Motherfucker! I'm so pissed off right now.
Your world is full of illusions, contradiction between fact and fiction.
Fucking talking shit.
You never back your claims.
Like a little cowardly bitch. Fucking talking shit.
Driving the wrong way down a one-way street.
Motherfucker!
Unstoppable force on immovable feet.
You don't know how fucking pissed I am.
Straight lines converging distance.
Fucking asshole.
Why do I get so much resistance? I know.
Fucking talking
You
shit.
never prove me wrong.
Right the fuck now. God damn it, fucker.
Now we get our physics deniers. Pathological compulsive lies. I know. You never prove me wrong.
You don't know how fucking pissed I am.
Driving the wrong way down a one-way street.
I get fucking emasculated by Jose J.G. Gonzalez.
It's where knowledge and ignorance meet.
Fucking asshole. Motherfucker.
Paradoxes and confusion. Your mind is in delusion.
Fucking talking shit.
We all know you're insane.
God damn it. I can't get one of these pussies after fucking talking shit to this motherfucker. I fucking still like him, but he fucking pissed me off. Motherfucker! God damn, he owes me a fucking apology.
Talk about your 2D surface. We all know you ain't got no purpose in life. We think that you live on board.
I get fucking emasculated.
Driving the wrong way down a one-way street.
I get fucking emasculated by Jose J.G. Gonzalez.
It's where knowledge and ignorance meet.
Fucking talking shit. Motherfucker!
Paradoxes and confusion. Your mind is in delusion.
Fucking talking shit.
We all know you're insane. We all know you're insane.
I get fucking emasculated by Jose J.G. Gonzalez. And I'm pretty fucking pissed off. That's all I've got to say about it. Motherfucker! Made me look like a fucking asshole.
We are live. Welcome everybody. It is Free for All Friday. We are here discussing anything anybody wants to talk about for this week. This is the chance that everybody else gets to stop me from talking. I mean, I can still carry on talking shit about people if you want. It's been a rather big week, I think. The Globe Gang has shown us that they're really struggling with a very simple argument about horizontal in reality and its relationship to the horizon. These guys, especially the boy of the farmer, he's had some good things to say.
I don't know where you got. Hang on, I don't know where you got that from, Les. But no, that's absolute bollocks.
What?
So don't listen to what other people say.
Who's that, Les? In the chat?
Mm-hmm.
Am I missing something?
Apparently so. Someone's been telling tales about stuff that just isn't real.
What? Yeah, I'm not
Let
too
me get
sure
this
what you're
straight.
talking about. Yeah.
Nobody's life is worthless. Bev would
Who?
never say that.
Who said that? That's a complete misrepresentation, that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I would say stop listening to Cleary and DP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't listen to people that are lying to you. If you want to know anything, come and ask us. Don't ask us in a chat. Just actually come and have a conversation. It's Free for All Fridays.
It was in the music. What, you mean Sean Hawkins? What Sean Hawkins? We can't be responsible for what Sean Hawkins says. He was having a meltdown. He's a Glover.
It was citation.
Yeah, I don't know. That's probably what they're thinking. I don't know. It's a pretty old song, that. Have you even ever heard that one before? Did that one ages ago. Probably about a year old, that one. When we were doing the I Stand With Sean. When all of the ballers were leaving him. Nobody was citing his work or anything. We tried to help him out with the with his paralysis challenge. We thought it was a mountain biking event across the Yorkshire hills. I still don't know what it is. Sean's not really told us. He's told us to watch a video, but that's not really the way we work. You can't just watch YouTube videos. Nobody would tell you to go and watch a YouTube video, surely. Good to see you back again, Les. Is that Les? It's been
Yeah,
away for a while.
that is Les. But funny enough, all of his old mates and him, guess where they hang around now? In the YouTubes. Guess what? Guess where? Go on. He's moaning at us, but yet they spend all their time in Gems. YouTube.
Oh, right. Oh, well. Everybody eats to their own. That's the sort of thing you like.
Yep. You can do what you like, as we do. We get amazing songs written for us by Buster.
Mm. Yeah, amazing music.
Mm-hmm.
And even more stuff to come.
And then it's just cut, like Bev just cuts it with stuff that kind of goes with the music, the theme. And Sean Hawkins just went really well with that one.
I got another offer as well from Blue Marble Science. He really wants this debate on Mr. Sensible's channel.
With you?
Yeah. Yeah, he wants a debate about level is horizontal. The one
All
that
I
like
need-
Fight the Flat Earth tried it to do ages ago.
Sorry, Les is just saying there's way more to the story than that's the reason they're hanging around in Jem's YouTube and supporting him. And people have got wrenches and stuff that are modding his channel. Yeah. After all of the stuff that is like Troll Team 6 Central. You're supporting the trolls, Les.
That's where the Blue Marble Science crowd is, though. The
But why
main
do you think
body of the Blue Marble
Yeah,
Science.
but why do you think we stay here out of the way? Out of the way of all of it. Exactly.
Yeah, they were the ones that told us we were the misfits, weren't they?
It's
Tried
all
to
one
keep
big
us separated.
It's all one big scam, this fucking shape of the earth thing, excuse my language.
Christ, this coat's fucking bright.
Well, yeah, there has been a bit of a bust up, hasn't there? Within the, let's say, flat earth community, because it is. That's where the everyone's a shill now.
Well, everyone is, and it's time people stopped like hero worshipping people with massive YouTube channels and taking everything they say as gospel. It's not. They're just another normal person like you or me. That's it.
Yeah, there is no experts in.
No, everybody can be wrong. And I think, like, I know everybody's falling out, but in a way, I think it's a good thing. Why shouldn't you call out people when they say wrong things? Even if they are on your so-called same side. I kind of wish more people would do that, in a way. Anyway, someone else must have a topic, because otherwise I'm just going to...
Oh, that's good, isn't it?
Right.
That's what we do. That's what we're here for. This is our chance to have our voice. Like we were always, people were talking shit about us. Always. That's why we're here. We're here because we have to let people see what we actually say, not what people say we say.
Yeah, feel free to come in and ask me anything. Be prepared for the answer, though.
I was hoping somebody was going to have a chat about what's going on within the community, but I'm guessing we're not part of that community, so I don't know whether anybody's allowed to discuss it. If
you mean the Nathan Oakley thing?
Yeah.
I guess we've got like a basic. There's been some kind of fallout with the Globebusters, Dave Weiss, and I know they've been feuding for a long time, but like now it's completely. But I just wondered what it was that caused it. I guess we will never know. If anyone's got any ideas, feel free to share.
Nathan Oakley has an issue with David Weiss, Jeranism, and these two other guys. This Whitsitt is, I think, from Globebusters, from Bob Nodell, because he was talking about this dielectric something acceleration. So he was from Bob Nodell's team, let's say. And generally, Nathan Oakley was upset because they were just bad debaters. And they didn't use normal arguments as they should. They didn't address any points this guy Bryant was bringing, and just he was criticizing them because they were no match for him. He was not very good debater. He was just spouting his narration, and they didn't address that, or very poorly. So, and there are many, let's say, arguments developed from Nathan Oakley side, let's say, and he was upset that they didn't use them at all. And they didn't learn, and that's true because they are in this arena, let's say, for years, and they and this narration Bryant brought was like from 2016, and it seems that they didn't learn anything from that in debate scenario. So he was very upset, and in fact, David Weiss said in debate that he don't watch Nathan Oakley, and then Nathan Oakley was very, very upset, and he said that.
They've had a little domestic behind this. Okay.
Domestic, but I would say that Nathan Oakley reaction was reasonable, I think, because in fact David Weiss put this challenge for Bitcoins, and he put it on Nathan. So in fact Nathan was defending his position, like anti-globe position for David Weiss, like on behalf of David Weiss, because it seems because he was only one who could do that, because the others were not able to. So and he admitted that David Weiss paid him for that.
But he got paid.
Yeah.
He said that
Nice.
in this debate. It is number, I think, 1764, if I am not mistaken. From some part, he is just going through this debate, and he is live commenting with others, with panel. But he admitted that David Weiss paid him for that, but still he was upset that David Weiss said that he is not watching Nathan Oakley. He felt pissed off, really, and he said that explicitly. So I can say that this is honest reaction, because I would be pissed off also if someone would say that, even if I am taking money from someone. So it was just quite a honest reaction, and I think Nathan lost many things from that. statements, let's say.
hmm But
So
it's not the first thing that Nathan is. Do you know what I'm saying? We all make mistakes. We get caught up in things that turn out to be, or we promote things that we shouldn't, or seem good at the time, but it turns out they aren't really. Like back in the day, how many people talk about FE core? Do you remember FE core, Bev?
Absolutely, I was a member.
I was a member as well. And what did I get for that membership and the money I paid for? Paid them
Very
zero.
little, yeah.
Zero. Not even an email for a year. And then it was like they wanted an automatic renewal, and it was, yeah, no. What do you do? The whole thing, people should be calling these things out more.
Yeah, there's a lot of money that got put into certain things. I mean, I can remember myself having we had that test set up. We had all sorts of different things with the auto level to have a conversation with people. Nobody from FE Core but was bothered about it. They just didn't. They weren't interested. Well, as like most people, really. Nobody really is interested in any of the discussion. I'm guessing that's what Nathan sort of feels bad about, or not bad. That
he was also upset, and I see it also reasonable that in fact for many years he brought on the table these arguments, better or worse, it is to be discussed, but still he brought many arguments, and they didn't use them in debate. So he was upset that he was just doing some job for, let's say, flat Earth, maybe even flat Earth society, whatever, but this community. And the best, supposedly the best debaters and big figures like Jeranism or David Weiss, they cannot just use this. They are, and they he called them that they are literally the shame of flat Earth community, because they were not obliterated by this Bryant, but they just like sitting like dummies. And it was obvious.
Well, yeah, hopefully, maybe Nathan will kind of wake up to the fact that that's what this whole topic is. It's designed this way, and it will never change. The people at the top, the people who have the influence, they do things their way, and it's kept the way it is for a reason, and it won't ever change. Your best bet, Nathan, is to totally get out of it.
Nathan can't, because like Paper said, Nathan's made these arguments.
I know, it's really hard, isn't it?
I think that he should be debater, because he
Paper.
yes.
Have you seen Nathan's debate?
Yes,
it was the biggest letdown anybody's ever had.
Yes, but he has to restrain his emotions, because most of these tricks are made on purpose. So when, for example, and this is not only against Nathan, it's always against opponent, like here. For example, if Brenda has no argument, he is starting to offend people. This is normal sophist's tactic. So debaters against Nathan, they are just using the same tactic, and he is following it. He is going in rage, and he's just starting to curse, and this is begins shit show and not debate. But if he would work with that, with himself,
If he could stay calm,
yes,
and then they
yes,
could have an actual. I mean, because still there are no one's done a proper debate yet. These aren't.
It's impossible to have a
debates.
debate, isn't it? It's because the one side doesn't have an argument, and I think personally, Nathan and the flat Earth side never make the most of it. They never present an argument as a structured argument to show up the other guys that they haven't got an argument. It should be made more of. And I'm guessing that's what Nathan was talking about. I haven't personally seen this, and I don't think it was a debate. It was literally just a discussion, wasn't it?
I would say it wasn't a debate.
It wasn't, because this is not real debate. So I think that many people think that this is debate. This is not debate, but they are doing that because people think that this is debate. So they are doing that. Okay, so we will make debate, not a debate.
I know people
Yeah.
think that two people arguing about a topic amongst themselves is a debate.
But isn't that what flat Earth debate, the actual genre, FED, right? Isn't that what they've set up? They've actually changed what debate is into that sort of thing, and then they now think that that's a debate.
I guess if you wanted to be specific with definitions, then yeah, you could say. I haven't really ever thought about it, but now you mention it, then yes.
They've literally made a flat Earth debate. And again, not only Nathan, it's in Gem Panda with his debate flat Earth and more. Never had a debate. No such thing as a debate over there. They've literally turned flat Earth debate into shouting at other people, calling people names, saying that they're stupid and thick.
Yes, that's true. But I would say that because Nathan Oakley worked many so-called arguments from the globe side, and he is ready to refute them, not to bring his own positive arguments, but to refute.
Yeah.
He is ready for that, but he is destroying this debate scenario because of his losing temper in the process of debating. But
Yeah.
I still think that he is capable to do that. But in this normal debate, like with introductions, statements, opening statements, rebuttals, and questioning, I would say that he would be good with that. So, but
he's done well with putting like the I know the Glovers hate it, but the housekeeping questions and things like that. He's got those polished up quite nicely. It's a nice idea, and yeah, he's done a lot of work. He's put a lot of work into it.
yes, and I would say that he is pretty well armed for debate.
Yeah, he's definitely got the knowledge.
Yes, and he has this wits and intelligence to refute on the fly. So I would say that in this battle he would be good, but if he would lose temper, as many times he did, it is something that would be utilized against him, and always is. But if he could just pass over this, and if he would realize that this is just a tactic against him, because if opponent has no argument and knows that Nathan Oakley is losing temper, he always do that. They always do that, opponents. So, and that's why these debates are ending in the same way, or were ending in the same way on his show. But if he just
But you
could-
can't. Sorry, I have to cut in there. You can't say it didn't work because it brought in the viewers. It did. You had quite a big couple of hundred people following every day without fail, wanting to see. That's what they tuned in for. What Nathan, the way he did his shows.
He's a victim of his own success, really. He's developed a load of housekeeping questions, which everybody knows, right? There's never been an answer to. So it's obvious that no one can go into a debate with Nathan and try and rebut any of his housekeeping questions. So they're never going to go and debate with him. Never, it'll never happen. It's the same problem that we sort of have. Once you've got an argument sorted, and it's a good argument, they'll just not talk to you. That's the position that Nathan's in at the minute. Now, these people are talking to people that don't quite get it, right? They've never had the experience of dealing with, don't know, let's say in the trenches where we are. This guy has learned the paralogisms that have been set forward by the rebuttals to stuff that Nathan's done, the housekeeping questions. And they just have a different way of getting around it, the ECV, right? They just don't address those points and go to somewhere else. Whereas Nathan's wise to it. The people that are wise to those sort of plays, they're not getting talked to.
Yes, you're right. And that's why, for example, in the show of this flat earth math, he meritorically he won this debate, but because he was starting to shout and he lost his temper, so it seems that he lose because of his behavior. But I understand that because he is dealing with trolls for years, so he has no patience for them. But back in the day, he had more patience for them. But he learned that it is not good to keep them for hours in futile arguing against nothing. So I kinda understand his position and reactions. But in debate, real debate, it is needed to just restrain this whole bias against anti-flat earthers or globers, just to obliterate opponent with cold logic and I would think that it would have a better effect if you can just destroy opponents' bullshit arguments with a smile and cold logic. But that's me. Maybe some people like just ranting and shouting and cursing. I don't like it personally, but maybe some people like.
Right. So, are we saying that this is about the poor representation that Nathan thinks that these three guys, is it?
Wait, Geran, David Weiss, Whitsitt, and this Hilbrand, or I can't.
Hibbler.
Sean
Four.
Hibbard.
Hibbler.
Yeah,
Hibbler.
yeah. Hibbler.
Hibbler, yes,
Yeah.
Hibbler. I don't know that guy. First time I have seen him.
Right, so
But,
there was four of them then.
yes, against, and they just poor. It is very kind, just like oafs, sitting like sitting ducks, talking, not addressing anything, or wrongly addressing, even worse. For example, if he brought this Bryant brought argument about geometric horizon, David Weiss started to explain how it would work with perspective on flat Earth. And Nathan, of course, very spotted this, that this is not refutation of Bryant's argument, bringing up his own positive argument. And this was very, very good notion. And he is going through a whole debate, or more, maybe part of debate, but still he was making very good points in this debate. What went wrong from this flat Earth side, and he was pissed off, and I understand him, because 4 years or many years of let's say educating their side how to debate, and nobody from top-notch debaters like Geran, David Weiss, they cannot utilize that at all, or they don't want, I don't know, but he was really pissed off, and I understand him.
Well, you can't get upset that other people aren't taking on your arguments, right? I think that's one of the things that I've noticed, is that within this arena, there seems to be an idea that they're not your arguments, right? If that's your argument, then somebody else has to use something else. It's a very strange.
Yes, for me it's strange,
Concept.
because if you understand argument that was brought to you, it should be your argument, as you understand that.
Yeah.
So why one there is no let's say ownership of the mind. So if you learn language and you can speak this language, you don't need to ask permission to use that language. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I like it. This is one of the things, you can't be responsible for everybody else. And it sounds to me like Nathan wants to be in control of something, or is it passion that Nathan's trying to get across? Is it, does he feel, I don't know, it's hard to say.
I would say that he is kind of passionate, yes,
Yeah.
of this thing, and so it would make him even good debater if he would restrain this going too far with this passion. But I think that he could be good debater. But yes, I think that now I don't think that he can meet opponent ready to debate him.
Yeah, I don't think there'd be anybody that'd want to go up against Nathan. Personally, I think it'd be great to we've been saying, bringing more actual debates into this arena would be beneficial to everyone, I would think. It's just that we're in a position to know that one side just doesn't have an argument to bring. And that side isn't Nathan Oakley. Like, as Nathan knows, right? He's got loads. All of the housekeeping questions and all of that can be formulated into an argument pretty simply. And there is no rebuttal to them. And there never has been. How many years has he been going with those? And there's way more arguments to put across.
Asked is asking if I am still under the spell of Nathan. No, I am not. I am not, but I can discern what is good with his approach and what is bad or just too much. For example, I can criticize him that he is saying in this live show that he is saying that this is flat argument. No, none of the arguments are flat arguments, to be precise. So I am not under spell, but I can detect if some refutation or disproof is good, logically good. It doesn't matter for me if this refutation would be from Nathan Oakley or someone else. If he can refute that in good way, logic way, he did good job. That's it. Whatever whoever he is, Nathan Oakley or Geran or David Weiss, it doesn't matter. His upset was about that. Nathan Oakley's upset was about that they didn't use arguments and logic in debate. So that was his accusation and being upset. And something stupid things that David Weiss said, of course, about him, that he doesn't watch Nathan Oakley, so, which is completely not true, because he said that in that way that he has nothing to do or little to do with Nathan Oakley, so, which is obviously not true, because they are corresponding, and he set up this Bitcoin challenge. So of course they have to be in some really relation in this, let's say, community. So that, I think that was too much offensive for Nathan.
Yeah, well, it's definitely kicked off a bit of a storm, right? Like, whatever. The impression I got was that the general idea is that there's a team of guys that are around here that have a model, and they're all together in their understanding of this model, right? But it's not real, and they're all really contradicting each other all the time. That's what they do. But then the other side, the one with the arguments, Nathan Oakley and the like, well, they are now split up. He's completely separated himself from this other group, who are, I think, a lot more noticeable. They have a bigger viewership. And it just seems like it goes against everything that Nathan Oakley has been doing. And for him to get upset about this and start calling names, he should just be trying to help people out, shouldn't he?
I don't know. But I think that he is just upset because the split is going on. Because first it started with, of course, Globebusters, Bob Knodel. But I think that this division is inside even within his panel. But for sake of debate, they are talking the same. But there are differences between them, and I think that sooner or later they will come up. Because yes, some of them, they are just saying stupid things. Wanting other people to like the stupid things. But Nathan Oakley is in this. He is very not reluctant, but with this, he's just staying aside. So he is not, for example, talking about dome or about sun being plasma or whatever. He's not making that kind of positive claims because he knows that he cannot defend that in debate. He cannot bring any real argument for that. So for this, I like him that he knows where he can go with positive arguments and where he cannot. But still, my objection is about these arguments being as flat Earth arguments. They are not. But he is very underlining this, that this is, for example, sextant is a flat Earth argument. No, it is not. And horizon being geometric or not geometric, this is not flat Earth argument. Absolutely. So, but he is naming it as flat Earth argument. So this is my objection. But still, they are valid as not flat Earth arguments.
I, for one, would like to know if anybody here thinks that this was not inevitable, that this whole kind of blow up was not inevitable.
People not having the correct arguments or the correct way to argue against fictional. Yeah. Yeah, I think we've been watching it all along. I mean, that's what we personally have been doing. Like, it never really seemed to be an actual argument to start off with for me.
Right. To me, when you're not dealing with reality, very simplistic against this, what we preach, right? The advanced simplicity. Whenever you're going off onto those things, the only way to stay united is to remain under one banner
and communicate.
And adopt whatever viewpoint seems to be the one that consensus draws from. That's why we get the divisions that we have in our respective countries, et cetera, because unless you toe the line, whatever that line is happens to be at the moment, whether it's in this particular case, the Globebusters line, the Nathan Oakley line, whatever line you like, it's inevitable that it's going to break apart, don't you think?
I think it will break. Yes, and
has to.
It is ongoing breaking in many points. So back in the day, it was breaking slowly, but now I think it will break even faster. It will just tear apart, I think, because differences are too big. And many people are in this flat earth community, not because they are flat earthers, but because they hold some strange ideas, like pseudo spiritual ideas or something like that, and they are not in mainstream narration. Then they are going to flat earth, but they are not really flat earther or whatever. They just have a nice place where they can share their strange ideology or pseudo scientific fantasy.
Adam's put in the chat, he's put they use his arguments, don't particularly know why. He was offended that these people he supports are throwing him under the bus, and through fighting and kind of come to the conclusion that those guys are, I guess, globebusters are opposition, controlled opposition. I don't know.
Nathan Oakley, yes, he mentioned that they are, or maybe they are, flat Earth society. This Gerard, David Weiss, and these globebusters, and so on. So I can't remember everything he said on this, but it's worth listening what he said, what his comments were, because he said many things, but he was just upset. Yes, and I think that it is understandable why he was.
Yeah, I don't think this sort of thing, because it's not a subject, it's not in schools, nobody's ever taught it. I don't think there's any way that anyone can control this particular I call it a genre, but it's not. It's like it's an arena, isn't it? It's the debate thing has been set up, and you're debating something that doesn't exist. You're debating two things that don't exist, really.
100%. Yep. Exactly.
Yes, I would say that this is not real topic, because, for example, like flatsoid versus fight the flat Earth. I think that most dangerous thing is that they are both sides. They are trying to change meaning of word science. Both sides. So some years ago, QE said that this I can't remember correctly, but he just excluded some sciences from science. So it would be only experimental science. And I think that Sleeping Warrior is also on that page, that only experimental physics is science. And of course, I have to disagree, because he is, and they are throwing out mathematics from science, being science. And this confirmation was on flatsoid versus the flat Earth, because they both agreed that mathematics is not science, and they agreed that proofs are in mathematics but not in science. That's why bowlers are talking about the physics, that this is science without proofs. You don't need proof, and that's why Brenda was saying that you don't need proof with in physics, only evidence. So I think that this is greater set up against science rather than flat or globe Earth, whatever. It is just a process of changing meaning of the words, like science in this case. And I think that this is bigger topic here, because it involves not only this arena, but science in worldwide sense, what it means. I think that some people want to change science into religion, so that people would think that religion and science are the same.
That's already happened, right? I mean, this is
Eddie
this
did
is
it. He went over
yeah,
to
yeah.
Blue Marbles and did it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. This is the thing, right? I mean, this is the thing that at least for the last several months, maybe more, maybe almost a year now, we've been focused on the fact that words mean things. And the reason why people can manipulate the words, or the reason why they want to try to manipulate the words, is to control the narrative. This is a human it's a human nature kind of thing, guys. Sophistry and the idea of manipulating words to gain an advantage and control a narrative is ages old. Ages old. And there's a certain group of people, that many of whom reside on this server, that just won't accept it, and people go mad because of it. They don't like it. Well, too bad. Keep your model, keep your words, do whatever you want, but if you're going to come here and you're going to engage in a conversation here, we're going to hold your feet to the fire. And if you're being called out for certain words that you want to use and manipulate them, don't be surprised when people here will call bullshit on that, just like Paper just did. It's going to happen. That's why, I mean, Adam and Askin are having a conversation in the live chat about the very thing. The idea that the word flat, it's why we don't agree with it. Words mean things. Never mind what you think it should mean, or what concept you should derive into your head because you use that word. The word's being used to control a narrative. SE has said it for as long as I've known him. He might not be able to talk, but he says it all the time.
Kicked for a night.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Like this whole arena where it's just people talking. That's all we've ever been doing. And somehow it's now come to a point where no talking's going to happen. Can they sort this out? Because I don't know. Like we come at this from reality side, and that's all we've ever done. But it seems now that the people that we should be talking to, or the people that we should be having conversations with, are now not going to be talking.
If they cannot use sophistry, they acknowledged that they cannot debate, so they are going elsewhere to find a more easy target. By the way,
go ahead, Paper. Sorry.
By the way, I think that this flat Earth versus globe Earth scenario seems for me like that globers are using sophistry and just tricks, and on flat Earth side, there are some good arguments, not flat Earth arguments, but just arguments, logical arguments. But because both models are not real, I would think that in time people start to think that there is no difference between sophistry and logical thinking, and I am afraid of that.
Yeah,
That
I think as
Exactly.
well. I'm with you on that
Yep.
paper. It's
too,
almost
100%.
as though they're the flat Earth side has to be just spotting fallacies and the sophistry that's coming from the globe guys. That's to me, that's all it is, and that's all
Yes,
you are able to do. And I think that's what Nathan's sort of saying, that they didn't spot these fallacies.
yes, on this debate completely they didn't address, like they didn't notice. So what is the kind of debater who cannot spot bad arguments, fallacies? So he shouldn't debate. But they are supposedly best debaters from flat Earth side. So they just did poorly. And for example, it was not the first time I have seen this so-called debate, David Weiss versus this so-called Professor Dave, and it was very bad, bad performance by David Weiss. This Professor Dave was talking his normal bullshit, globe bullshit, and he barely could address anything. So I spotted that David Weiss is not good debater at all. But why he is going into debate with someone, I don't know.
It wasn't a debate though, was it? Well, I mean the fake Professor Dave one, right? That I suppose was laid out as a debate, but I don't think it was. I think that's whatever they call the bunny ears flat Earth debate. It's a different sort of thing, isn't it?
Maybe, yes, special debate. Flat Earth debate has special rules, maybe, but still, David Weiss is not prepared to massive propaganda. He's not able to refute, because these people, these globers, they are prepared to spout propaganda in certain way that this is hard to interrupt and refute. Like these guys which are calling on the phone to what's called to sell you something like new car or whatever on the phone. They have this kind of narration that it is hard to interrupt them, because they are prepared for scenario when you are starting to interrupt them, and they are just starting they start to speak faster and faster, and they have whole script prepared. And David Weiss, for example, is not prepared to interrupt in proper way that kind of script. So I think that he fails on that, but he is still trying to debate. I don't know why.
So have we come to any conclusions then? What's next, do we think? What's coming next?
I think that this is ongoing Scientologist action. So so-called, of course, just Scientologist. It means that to change normal science into pseudoscience, and then pseudoscience into religion, like. Just to make people believe that what authority is saying, this is true, like dogma. In fact, we are already experiencing that. So worldwide. So this is not just in some country somewhere in the deep hole. No, it is worldwide now. So I would say that this is ongoing or even galloping process.
Well, I think this is what we've been here trying to sort out an argument, but also watching the plays that have been done, right? I personally have learned that there are sophists and there are what we call parasophists, people that practice sophistry but without actually understanding the argument. It's a completely new thing. I don't think anybody's noticed within the psychology of this thing exactly what's going on.
Absolutely.
Because there is a difference. In the old days, there was sophistry, right? And in order for you to employ sophistry, you have to know the actual argument and then be able to fool people with something different. Well, these guys here now that we've been talking to don't even have an argument, yet they claim victory.
Yeah, this is just low level, and it is getting lower and lower. So this is sad for me.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say this similar thing, Paper. What's sad to me is that they're able to get away with it. And it's not just in this arena, guys, either. I mean, what Bev is talking about, the idea of parasophistry. Pick your favorite political character. Doesn't matter. Pick your favorite argument outside of this arena. It's all parasophistry. And I personally, I blame the fact that there is no trivium anymore. Right? It goes back to that the tools of learning, the lost tools of learning. Right? That whole idea that understanding an argument, being able to create your words in order to provide a rhetoric that makes sense behind an argument that is basically bulletproof, that's lost. That tool's lost. It's gone. And so you don't even have to be a sophist anymore. You can be a parasophist and get over. It's amazing.
Yes, and I would say that it seems to me that, for example, in politics, if you want to be popular, you have to just say something very, very stupid, and you will. Because if you will say something wise, you will be unpopular, boring, just boring.
Exactly. The lost tools of learning.
Absolutely.
And nobody seems to want to get it back, it seems to me. I mean, we've talked about this before, right, Bev? Even when we do those shows, there are people that like it, but views drop. It's like you want the argument, you want the UFC, right? You want a verbal UFC. That's what gets people going. It reminds me of for those of you who might have seen the movie called Idiocracy. I think unfortunately we're headed that way. If you've seen that movie, you'll know what I'm talking about and why I'm chuckling. It's just we're eventually going to end up just a world full of buffoons if we're not there already, because the tools of learning are gone. The trivium, it's gone. No one knows how to make an argument and have a proper debate. Have we even discussed what a proper debate is? Perhaps we need to mock that, right? Perhaps we need to actually try to have some real debates. Somebody takes one side, somebody takes the other side, and have a real debate. What a real debate might look like. I don't know. I don't even know if anybody would even want to hear something like that.
Yeah. Well,
I would say that
I'm hoping to have one with Blue. Blue
yes,
seems
I
to
would
want to have a go at it.
it would be good if this debate would happen.
Will it be a real debate?
Well, I'm
on
going
your
to
side.
approach it as though it is, yeah.
Right, yeah. But as we saw with the one with Reds and the one with what's the other guy's name that Red threw
Ryan.
into the
Ryan.
yeah threw into the wood chipper. Not much of a debate. Hard to have a good debate without two arguments or opposing arguments that that are coherent. At least I think. Becomes a one-sided debate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, most of the time, what we've been experiencing is it's you present an argument and they say that's not an argument, and then the rest of the time, the discussion is about their non-argument. You know, their statement that yours isn't an argument. I'm having it at the minute with the guys on Twitter. You know, these guys that we're talking to are telling us that the argument isn't an argument. And if that's the way that they're going to rebut it, then I don't know.
it is pitiful because what can you say? How can you convince someone that argument, validly provided argument, is argument? So it's like proving that you are not a camel. So just what if they don't understand, they need explanation. But if they understand and don't accept, it means that I don't think that you can do anything else, anything more for that.
Yeah.
For example,
Well,
with this flatsoid versus conspiracy cat argument, because they were to bring three arguments or three evidences for something. And for example, for sun setting or not setting, Flatsoid brought demonstration on the video clip where he was showing how this light bulb and like barrel on the bottom that they were converging in the distance, and they were closing distance. And conspiracy cat at all, he just hand waving dismissed that. He didn't address that, but this was demonstration, whatever it was, good or bad, but still should be addressed or rebuked, and nothing, just ignoring. This is, for me, this is one of the most annoying tactic, ignoring the point. This is it has even a name in Latin, ignoratio elenchi. It means that you are ignoring topic willingly in debate. This is very annoying, and this occurs very often in debate.
ECV.
Yes,
It's one of the forms of it.
Motivation, but this is what you are doing in debate. You are just deliberately ignoring a point or argument or demonstration. Just not addressing. Just, I didn't notice. So this is annoying. I can spot this in debates many times. So I brought this flatsoid versus conspiracy cat because there were some examples there, and this is one of them. Video clip demonstrating that sun should go down and object going on the floor is going up, so they will merge together. And he did, the conspiracy cat didn't address that, but instead he was talking about honesty.
I didn't see any of that stuff, but I mean, I've been trying to get Conspiracy Cat to have a conversation with us about all of the stuff that he did with Ranty and Ruhif, all of that sort of stuff. Even I can remember somebody said that he was one of the top geometers of the globe. Remember who that was?
I would say that he is now, because I think that he changed something in his narration. I think that he went through some kind of training in sophistry, because back in the day his conversations and so-called debates were different. But now he's more aggressive, like more aggressive advocate. So in the court. So I would say that he just took some lessons of history, or maybe something like that, like techniques of debating, because he speaks differently. He's something changed.
Sophistry school.
Yeah, yes, something like that.
Oh, that sounds good. Well, like, we have to have a counter to that then. So I guess that would be what we're doing.
Yes.
Yep.
Like anybody wants to know how to counter sophists, then that's what we do here. We discuss these sort of things. The only way for us to get out of all of this is to talk to each other about it. Discuss what it is that we've got going on here. Discuss these sophisticated arguments, when they're not non-arguments then. Sophisticated non-arguments. And I really hope that's where Nathan's trying to get to. And I know that Dave Weiss wasn't having a debate. That's not what it actually was that they were doing. They were having a discussion about something, and it's been turned into a debate. Somebody's turned this discussion into a debate that wasn't actually a debate. It was meant to be a discussion. And Dave Weiss's idea is to how to best put across all of these particular points that you've got within this arena. And I think one of the things that we've been talking about within all of this is that these conversations that we have are mainly made up by the people within this arena. The whole idea of the discussions and everything, and the way the arguments come about, I don't know, it's different, isn't it, when you're talking to the everyday person and then when you're talking to a globe sophist.
Well, they are already they have already prepared script, so or many scripts. So I think globbers are prepared like good propagandists, but and some of them have some debate skills, but still. Even the best of them can be refuted using normal, simple logic. So I would say that still the weapon against sophistry, whatever, whoever he is, bad or good sophist, the weapon is the same. So I would say that if people would learn basic logic, they can refute even a very sophisticated sophist. So that's my point of view, that you don't need to be very clever, smart logician to refute sophisticated arguments. You need to know something solidly, but you don't need to memorize thousands of things to refute arguments.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
I heard a bit, and I listened today, and it seems like I think that we have a difference of opinion in about science not being a difference. That's probably a bit wrong, but Nathan has a particular method for science, whereas me personally, I don't know if anybody else, but I say it's just the ability to acquire knowledge, and the particular method that you use in order to do that will change tremendously about around the subject and all of that sort of stuff. Whereas I think Nathan's sticking it to one particular thing.
I would say that he is sticking to a so-called scientific method used in physics. And this is correct. This is all right. But this is not the only way how you gain knowledge. Because in fact, you are gaining knowledge from thinking. This is the process of gaining knowledge. Even if you are doing some experiment in physics, when you can vary cause to check if the effect is occurring or not occurring, you still need that experiment to think, to have conclusion, and the conclusion is from your thinking. So if you have a hypothesis and you are expecting some outcome from manipulating some cause, something in physics, you need to know what you are doing, what you are predicting. This is whole thing about thinking. Test and or experiment is just to validate as true that your premise is true in reality, in physical reality. Just it does not deny thinking as a process of gaining knowledge. This is not instead of thinking, I am doing experiment. No, quite opposite. Experiment is just to support your thinking, to validate, or rather to establish that this is true in material or physical world. That's it. But whole process of gaining knowledge is thinking. So I don't know why, but still, a Sleeping Warrior, for example, was, I don't know if he is now, but he was also saying that this experimental, this empirical knowledge, this is science. No, science is from thinking. And experiments and empirical experience is only to support your thinking. That's it. That's my take on what knowledge is or science is.
Yeah, I like the idea of science is basically old school, just knowledge. It is the study to, well, to gain as much knowledge from that particular subject as possible.
Yes, and but generally, and ancient Greeks and not Greeks, they also thought that this the subject of knowledge is your mind. So if someone is trying to separate science, so knowledge, from mind, for me this is ridiculous, because the subject of gaining knowledge is mind. Your mind is gaining knowledge, not your body, not physical world around you. World is not gaining knowledge. Your mind is gaining knowledge, and mind is gaining knowledge. That kind of knowledge that fits mind. So the only process where your mind can gain knowledge is logical thinking. This is the only way how mind can gain knowledge. No other way.
Worth thinking about. So when Nathan talks about that scientific method, that's being able to gain knowledge through experimentation for
he was
some physical things.
Yes, he or maybe rather QE. I don't know really which one of them, but in fact, for me, Nathan's approach is too much linked into physical reality with the thinking, because in fact, thinking is may be linked with physical reality and should be, to gain truth, but process of thinking is not linked with physical reality, because the process of thinking is just thinking. You are not changing anything in physical reality when you are thinking. So I think that so this speculative thinking is our power to gain knowledge.
Yeah.
And of course, we should know where to when we need experiment to check this, to make this reality check. But if it is not needed, and there are examples where you don't need experiment to have conclusion. Therefore, it means that only speculative thinking is giving you knowledge also. But Nathan, I think that he wouldn't agree with that. He would say that only observing physical world and thinking about this world and making experiments give you knowledge. I would say that this is true, but this is not the only way how we gain knowledge. Because, for example, how we gain knowledge about our thinking. We have to think about our thinking. We don't need experiment for that. But still, we can gain knowledge about our thinking. But I would say that I think that Nathan Oakley and QE would say that this is not science. For me, this is science. Learning logic is science.
Yeah.
For me. And you are not making any experiment in physical world.
Science of reasoning, I've heard it
Yes.
called, logic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say that throughout all of this, even when you talk about the scientific method that QE talks about, that is derived from a logical process. You lay these things out in an order where you can make that relationship between the parts and use the mind to come to the conclusion. It's all the same and it's all derived from logic.
Yes, your hypothesis, this is idea, this concept that this causes that. So you have to think first about what you see, and you have to ask yourself question, what causes that? So the first thing is thinking. And that process, even in physical science. And then you have to think if you need experiment to validate your hypothesis, because maybe sometimes you don't need. And if you think, if you come to conclusion that you need experiment to validate your hypothesis, then you have to think what experiment and how you have to conduct to provide this proof. So I would think that 90% of experiment in physics is about thinking, not performing experiment.
Would you consider astrophysics science?
Absolutely not.
Okay, just testing.
Especially, I would say that astronomy, if it would be the same as astronomy, yes, I would say that this is science, but they changed this or developed into astronomy into astrophysics for a reason. I would say that this is deceiving name, because people would say that yes, it means this is physics, so this is science, and astro means stars, so this is physics of the star.
Exactly.
Something real, but this
Yeah.
is completely unreal. This is just a fraud.
Anybody want to look up physics and what the root word is? What it comes from?
Physis, it means face.
Yeah,
Face, like face value. What you see, this is what you see, what it is.
exactly. So
And
you'd have to.
do-
Oh, sorry, Essie, go ahead.
no, go ahead. I think you were first.
Oh, I was just going to say, and you'd have to be able to touch, feel, observe very closely to be able to tell what the face value of something is, what the actual essence of it is.
So are
Yes.
you saying basically that you need a physical object to do physics with?
Yeah, well,
Yes.
of course you do. Try to get a physical done without going to the doctor and having the doctor touch you. I mean, I suppose it could be done today because everybody's stupid today. But all right, but that you get a physical done. You usually have to go to the doctor for that. They run tests. They check on you.
Dude,
No,
nobody
No.
goes to the doctor. Nobody goes to the doctors anymore. It's all done over the telephone. And
I
if
mean, they
you're
could do a-
lucky, you might get a like video call.
they could do a physical on you without actually seeing you. Well, like I said, stupid people.
Yes, and still, I would say that if doctors are allowing that, they are also stupid.
Exactly, they're very stupid.
Because I know that because my father was a doctor, not a gynecologist. So you can say that he was would be very talkative about what was going on for some time, previous time, let's say. Not he away, but he was laryngologist, and I learned him that you have to have contact with patient. Without this is just nonsense.
Exactly. My wife, I just laughed because my wife just said, "What they can listen to your lungs telepathically." Yeah.
Yeah, so the word science, we have to be very careful. That's why I brought up astrophysics.
Yeah, as a perfect example, Essie. Like Paper said, just the terminology should tell you it's bullshit. Astrophysics, freaking
Yeah.
bullshit.
And I was listening yesterday, not yesterday, before I couldn't talk. And yes, Kevin, words do have meanings. They definitely do have meanings. And that's where most of the misunderstanding happens in these arenas. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we've been saying it for all of that time that it turns out that the trivium, or more importantly, the organon, the tool for being able to do this learning, for everyone, right, individually. Once you're given this understanding that the identity of the thing is of utmost importance, that is the most important thing, is being able to identify that you are talking about. If you can't do that, and you definitely can't do that if it's not a real thing.
Yeah, that's where the predication comes in, right? You have to have something to predicate upon, right?
Yeah, the identity of the thing. If you don't have that thing there, like Kevin was saying, in order to see the face value of it, to check it out, to manipulate it, poke it, prod it, do things to it. If you can't do that, then you can't perform science around that thing. That's what's needed, a physical thing, especially within physics.
Yeah, yeah. Like the very word, the very description of it. I mean, come on.
But they do. They've done this a fair few times. We've had this in the past. Like light. Like the physics of light. We've heard a few people. Jose said that light is physical. He said that.
Yep.
So these misconceptions about things, there are definitely people that think differently about these things, but it needs to be talked about. It needs to be
My
discussed.
favorite one is mass. That's my favorite magic word, or one of them. Yeah, you have to define your terms before you have the conversation. You have to come to terms. That's another thing I liked. Coming to terms. I love that term. So if we're having a discussion on kangaroos, one guy's not talking about cats, for example. Right? We're both talking about kangaroos.
I've got a point of in the idea of this debate that Blue Marble wants to have about level is horizontal. He wanted to establish the terms beforehand. And I've said, well, that shouldn't be the way, right? You don't define the terms beforehand if you're talking about having a discussion, a debate. Because the way I want to present it is from first principles all the way through. I want everybody to have that same basic understanding and to be worked through to have this discussion. At least that's the way I would like to try and present it. So we've now decided that it will be added in at the beginning, so you define your terms within the debate structure, because it's obvious that people have different understandings of what words mean.
Yeah,
and it's obviously pointless trying to have the debate over that, because we've had that discussion over years, and we can go on with that discussion about a straight line forever and get nowhere. So what we're going to have to develop here is this new way to have these discussions where you lay out your case first off and then discuss that you've just laid out.
That's so important, that, because even what you just said now, right? You want to do first principles. You want to go about it now. I understand right away what that means, right? But somebody could say, what, you want to talk about your first principle in school? Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I hated my first principle in school, or his mind will go elsewhere. Yeah. No, first principle, first order, the beginning. One, right?
You start at the beginning, and lay out your case. I'm hoping that that's going to be something that we can develop. I mean, we have been developing these ideas for quite a while now, and as always, it does come down to the words that you use and how you put them across, which takes us back to the point with Dave Weiss and Nathan Oakley. They both do different things, and I don't believe that either of them do debate. That's definitely not what Dave Weiss does. And Nathan Oakley's, okay, he's led out the arguments. He's laid them out for people, how to have these housekeeping questions, but they're only rebuttals to a ridiculous statement that's been made based around a model that has no proof. Rather a strange concept to make a statement, because I mean, it all comes down to it. The statement about a horizontal being parallel to the plane of the horizon. Now I've got people asking me to saying that I need to demonstrate that. And I keep saying, well, surely anyone can do that themselves at any point in time. You know, you can either prove it or disprove it for yourself. Nobody needs me to do that sort of thing. But when it becomes an argument about a rebuttal that's a nonsensical rebuttal to an argument that hasn't been made, you know you're into a losing battle.
I would say that this is impossible to demonstrate, this proof of horizontal being parallel to a plane of horizon, because you need tools to establish horizontal plane. So in order to disprove that, you will have to have an instrument to establish curved horizontal. And I am waiting for someone to demonstrate the tool establishing curved horizontal.
Well, you all you have to do is go to the definition of a plane and the definition of parallel, and you will see that there's straight lines. So basically what they're saying, or what they're trying to say, is that horizontals aren't parallel to the plane of the horizon somehow. Now, what they're actually saying is that the plane of the horizon isn't a plane of the horizon, because horizontals definitely are straight. Like,
Yeah,
they're
I had
so
them.
confused with what they're trying to say. It's
They're
madness.
lost, bro. This argument we brought is driving them insane. I had them yesterday saying that a 2D plane can curve, can have a hump or a drop. Fight the Flat Earth, Brenda, Zanuck. A 2D plane can have elevation change.
Yeah, a 2D plane can. It could be vertical.
Well,
And that
we
would
were
be,
talking
the
about,
elevation changes would be measured upon that.
yeah, but that's not what they were talking about. They were
Like
talking
all
about
elevation profiles.
all objects have a 2D surface. That's where they were going at.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. So I was telling him, so a sphere has a 2D surface, yeah? So, you know the story after that, right? I mean, it's easy, right? So I'm telling them you can have a hump or a drop on a 3D object with a 2D surface without having elevation change. And they're, yeah, of course, yeah.
Hey, that was one of the first things. My first ever debate was against a man that said straight lines curve. And then he called me stupid.
Well, that's the man I was talking about.
I know. See, that sort of stuff brings people into this. Well, it brought me in. I'm not so sure they want me in here now. I'm not so sure it was such a good idea for them. But
He also gave us LIGO. Thank you, Fight the Flat Earth, for that.
yeah, I can remember him doing that in one of the conversations that we had. Literally, I've learned loads about how ignorant of certain things people can be, and then imagine that they can debate about it, discuss it, talk about it, as if they're the ones that are knowledgeable about it.
How could I forget? Have you heard, or anybody here, have you heard of an 8-dimensional sphere?
No, no, but I'm sure they've made it up.
Yeah, thanks to Brenda.
Brenda, wow. Well, there's an authority.
Brenda said yesterday that an 8-dimensional sphere has a 7-dimensional surface. And Brenda said, simple, n minus 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard them do that before. I mean, it's brilliant calculations, but it doesn't bear any relevance to reality at all.
How would an 8-dimensional sphere look like?
It cannot look. It cannot look. It is impossible because perpendicularity is restricting from producing more than 3. You can produce only 3 lines in different directions being perpendicular. Only 3. No more.
Yeah, and if anybody thinks I'm joking, making stuff up, just check out the latest video I put out, and you will hear Brenda saying just that.
Yep, 4 equal right angles that's your maximum in any axis.
Yes, yes. You cannot produce in space. You cannot produce more because you will violate perpendicularity. If you want to add any other line to that, this line will be not perpendicular to others.
Yeah, it's amazing where their minds go. It's truly, I mean, speechless. An 8-dimensional sphere.
But you do realize that people like Brenda and the people that are in those rooms, their only purpose is to make you as confused as they are. And they will literally say anything to put you in that state of just being confused.
Yeah, well, the only problem with that is I'm able to spot bullcrap instantly. So that doesn't work with me.
Been trained in logic, right? You've trained yourself to be able to point out bullshit and see it.
Yeah, so the moment anyone says, imagine.
Yeah, that's a magic trick of being about to be trying to be performed on you.
Yes, because they demand to imagine something you cannot imagine. No one can. So if they think that they can imagine, they are not telling truth, because imagination is creating image in your mind. So if you are creating, for example, image of a square in your mind, you are really drawing like on piece of paper, square, but not on piece of paper, but in your mind. So you can
still a square, right? The universal of a square being a square and known to be a square is always a square, whether it's in your mind or on a piece of paper or actually physically like a cube. You know it's a square because it is, and it's defined as such.
Yes, and that's why it is called image, because image is like creating image in your mind is the same as creating an image on the paper. So it has to be consistent with reality. or other picture. It's like taking photo. You cannot take photo of nothing. You have to photograph something. So, and then you can say that this is image, for example, of sun setting, because the sun is setting in front of you. Then you can create image of that. The same thing is with your mind. You cannot produce image, something that does not exist and cannot exist. You cannot imagine impossible things. It's impossible to imagine that. So if someone is saying that they are imagining, they are just fantasizing. They are creating image. This is not image. This is bad word. They are creating some patchwork of their mind, and they say that this is image of something, but it is not. So they are deluding themselves and trying to delude others.
Yeah, I have within logic, there is an idea that you can go to, or you can think of, place different scenarios, but those scenarios come with rules, and the rules are that it has to be able to be done in reality. So reality gives you that link through logic. Like you, within the different scenarios you could lay out for other possibilities, you cannot, for instance, imagine that a circle is a square, because that's just not possible. That's not within the rules of imagining. So for you to be able to imagine something within a logical framework, it has to actually exist, and then you can just imagine that thing in a different scenario, and you can play with it that way. You cannot imagine something that does not exist already. You should be able to say, no, show me. If somebody says imagine, you can't imagine it. You should just be able to say, well, show me, and then I can imagine it, because I don't know what I'm meant to be imagining.
In geometry, it is very simple, because drawings made in geometry, like in Euclid, the author of this pictures, he imagined that in his head first, and then he drew it on the paper. So he drew what he meant to draw. But if someone is saying that he is imagining circle being square, he cannot draw it, because if he draw a circle, we can see a circle, and when he draw square, we can see square. So it is not about imagining, because it is impossible, but just redefining in stupid way circle into square and vice versa. So and redefining in that way, I would say that this is just a fraud or a lie, because you have to deny your senses. If you see square, it is not honest to say that this is circle. Just it for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and as we know, we do have people that do say a 3, 4, or 5-sided square. People that say that a triangle, a circle, and a square are the same. There are people that literally say these things, and they want you to go along with them, which I'm just not willing. I'm not able to. Not that I'm not willing to. I'm not able to. I cannot put my mind through those sort of loops. I'm not willing to. I'm not going to attempt to even talk about it, really. It's just beyond ridiculous, but people are willing to say those sort of things. Not me. And I can't see it getting any better. Personally, all I can see is some mental breakdowns coming from a group of people that have been vile and horrible to another group of people. It's going to be sad to watch. So I personally don't see why Nathan's too bothered about this sort of thing, because Nathan's been living in the heart of something where it's completely fabricated. Everything, even the arguments that he's made up, have been made up to counter some ridiculous statement that's been said by a crazy person. Severely model afflicted. And you have to, what they've been is their arguments from reality towards a group of mentally disturbed people. But they've been taught to be mentally disturbed. It's not their fault. General society makes a lot of people like this.
That's why you shouldn't go along with it, and why you shouldn't try to imagine it, because it might mentally disturb.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
that's a shame.
disability.
That's not just me, is it?
Yeah, he was breaking.
Yeah, that's bad. Yeah, thanks, Mike. Yeah, I get the sentiment. If you can come back and finish that off, I feel it has purpose.
How about now?
Yes.
Better?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. All I'm saying is you're inviting a mental disability by entertaining these thoughts. Why would you do that?
Yeah. I see a lot of people have been upset at me. I can remember Nathan particularly because he banned and got rid of certain people from his one. So we are now, he was upset that we were talking to them. But for that reason, right? I mean, I think a lot of people have been listening to us thinking, why does Bev talk to these people? Why does he let them do that? And it's so that they have their voice. Everybody can hear how crazy these people are. But it does come to a point where should you really be entertaining these ideas? When they say imagine, and once you hear it and you know what it is, it's a trick. It's a magician's trick, because once you can imagine it, you can imagine the concept of the thing that you're talking about. And then you can start to justify it because you've at least imagined it. So there is a slight possibility that it could be real because you can at least imagine it.
This is called reification fallacy. You think that your thought is real because you thought of it. So if you think about circle being square, it means that it can exist. So this is classical reification fallacy. You are bringing into existence because of thinking of that. So if I think about lightsabers, this is picture of it here. So if I think that of lightsabers, it means that they exist or they may exist. So this is classical reification fallacy. And for example, if I make some equation for anything, for some people, it is proof that this thing exists. For example, they made equations for terrestrial refraction. And now this is a very serious debate about this terrestrial refraction because someone just made some equation. So this is another reification fallacy. Making equations does not don't bring into existence. This equation is not existent in reality. So this is reification fallacy.
I go as far to make the point that equations don't make the thing. I'd say F equals ma. Does that make a force? Is that how you make a force, or I don't know?
They think that yes, but equation is description, should be description of a relationship between something. Like, for example, that density is volume multiplied by weight. So we have
He's
equation,
just up on top
but
of the
we
hill up there.
have weight and we have volume. We can measure separately both of them. And we can make equation, but this equation is based
You won't be able to see
on
it from here, I had to go up.
something real. But some people are just inventing entities in equations, and this is reification. So, for example, if we have this equation for gravity, Newtonian gravity, or constant in gravity, this is pure reification because it assumes that this gravity exists. So they put this G in equation because they assume that this constant exists. And this is reification.
Mm-hmm. I forgot how we got here.
The same thing is with these dimensions, 8 dimensions, because they make some maybe equations
Grey
about
Aldi,
that, so
long,
they
sports
think
back.
that this is real, because they make equations around dimensions.
But that never, I never understood that, adding extra dimensions. But hey,
Yeah.
it started off, didn't it, by some dude adding time onto the 3 dimensions of physical reality.
Yep, that was the first move.
And then somebody goes, well, if he can do that, what's this? 5, 6, 7, 8, like, just keep going.
Yeah, basically that's it. As funny as it sounds, yep.
For me, this is ridiculous because time is measured by motion, and motion is measured by distance. So if we have distance measured, and this is a real dimension of space, distance, so it means that they are adding another space dimension, and they call it time. For me, this is just absurd, but because if you have
You can
something,
imagine it.
I cannot.
Yeah, I know. I can't
cannot-
either, but I mean, that's where it goes, isn't it?
Yes, but this is still fallacy, because you cannot put another dimension in which inside is the same dimension which were described with 3 normal dimensions. So this is because the question arises in which direction this would be, this this time dimension within frame or like Cartesian system, in which direction? Because if they are trying to do time as dimension, measurable dimension, it would be some kind of line or what, some graphical description of that, like normal dimensions. But as Red's rhetoric said, that they put only on paper a simplified version of that. And for me, this is evidence that they cannot draw that on paper.
Sophistry.
Yes.
Pure sophistry, that.
Because it is impossible to draw this dimension, so-called dimension. And it is impossible to draw because you cannot imagine that.
Yeah, you can only draw in Euclidean.
Yes,
That's all. That's all you have to describe as well. In reality, that's the only thing you have to be able to describe physical reality is the Euclidean dimension system, and to describe things entirely through Euclidean geometric understanding. True knowledge gained quite simply to describe reality. There's no wonder it's part of the quadrivium. Perfect system. Starting off with the tools of learning, and then, well, number, geometry, music, and the combination of all of those. That's true science, right? If you want to get it for yourself and have that understanding of everything, then the only person that's going to be able to do it will be you. Everybody's got to do it for themselves to find that knowledge. It's to become that science. Become the science teacher. It's the best way to learn. Try and explain things to people.
Explain by logical inference, not just telling stories.
Yeah,
And
once you
this
try
is-
and explain it to people, then you have to be able to explain and counter the questions.
Yes, explain to understand and explain to yourself. And in fact, sometimes it is good to create like playing chess with yourself. to create a counter position to defend in your mind this logical statement, to not to prevent, but to predict what counter argument would be against that logical statement. So it is, yes. So sometimes you can just produce many counter arguments against your own statement and defend that. This is logical exercise many people can make if they are already skillful in logic.
Where we at then? Anybody else got anything? I find it fascinating that this topic that we're all involved in has led us to a point where we're having to learn about the topic that we're all talking about. And I'm not so sure it's the same thing, right? Because it's like multifaceted. I know for me, I've been looking for searching, finding knowledge.
Well, for me, for example, with this case of globe Earth versus flat Earth, I'm only interested in arguments, validation of these arguments, and how to debate. This topic is not very relevant for me, but how opposite side is producing argument, how it can be rebutted. So not specifically because of that topic, like flat Earth or globe Earth, because for me this is irrelevant, but I'm still interested in that, how to produce argument against or for something, and if it has true value or not, only, not linked with model. That's why I'm still somehow interested in that kind of debate, because it is somehow about logic. It's linked with logic and argumentation. So that's why I am still somehow interested in that, not because of topic itself, but for learning more logic.
Yeah, I'm being able to come to a better understanding of everything, really. I mean, I'm trying to learn about people myself.
For example, for me, when I started to look at this flat Earth versus globe Earth debate or whatever, through that, I realized that this globe model is impossible, which I didn't consider earlier, because I thought, yes, we have some heliocentric Copernican model, but I didn't didn't think that this is impossible. And through these discussions and let's say debates and my own thoughts, I came into conclusion that this model is impossible. So I learned something about that model. I learned that this is logically impossible.
Good afternoon.
Hey,
Good
Rob.
afternoon.
Yeah, I'd say I'm exactly the same, Paper. Exactly the same. I come into it not knowing anything and was taught myself that it's impossible. Now, I didn't bring myself into this. You know, somebody brought me in and I came to that conclusion myself. You know, I've never heard anybody say any different. But, you know, try and explain how it's not. And in order for me, because I might have my proofs now, and in order, I consider, for anybody to counter them or, you know, to rebut them, they have to have a proof that's equally as strong.
Yes, and they bring this argument for globe at it was obvious that this is obvious that we live on the globe in this Copernican or whatever model of whole universe. And but in process of thinking about that and arguing with people on chat back in the day, I realized that not only that they have no arguments, but also I learned that this model is logically impossible and physically impossible. So I learned something about that model. I learned that it is impossible.
Yeah, it's tough to consider that, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
I do.
Can I just add?
Go on.
Well, I was going to say their model, the whole model depends on the proof of gravity, which they can't prove. Because that's the only thing that holds their whole model together. But we can't find any scientific or logical evidence for gravity other than down. But they can't even define down. Anyways, that was it. Sorry.
Yes, gravity is a strong argument because if they are destroying, they already destroyed Newtonian, let's say, theory, and they replaced it with even more bullshit Einsteinian theory, quote unquote. So yes, they have not to back up. And by the way, gravity can be explained with density relationship only, and it is sufficient to prove anything, and you can make experiments on that. So rest is redundant, completely redundant. These forces of like mass attraction, mass or curving space, time or whatever, it's just redundant. You can prove that this relationship between densities works every day. For example, if you have in your room this radiator with central heat system, and you have radiators, and now they are convectors. They are producing hot or warm air in specific way that this air is going up. So for me, this is just a simple refutation of this absurd theories, because the question is why they are building convectors. Why? Of course, because they want to want air to go up, and how they make it this air to go up? They are heating this air. But does it mean that air, when it's hot, is going up? Yes, but is this sufficient answer? No, because air, when it's hot, is becoming more rare, and that's the reason why it is going up, because it's rare, more rare than air surrounding it, and that's why it is going up. So this is a solution why things are going up and why things are going down. When they are more dense than medium, than air, they are going down, and even same air, when it is warmer than surrounding air, is going up, and this is easily provable in everyday life. So for me, this is just end of discussion about gravity. Because I can prove it, simply prove it. And I would say that this kind of gravity, like density relationship, is self-evident, because you don't need even to make any experiments on that, because it is showing everywhere.
I have a thing. It's just vertical. So I don't like. There isn't an argument made about it, as far as I'm concerned, from the other side. I don't know. Don't like talking about Santa.
But still, in my or just normal theory of gravity, it doesn't explain why things are going down when they are denser and why they are going up when they are less dense. This is, I would say that this would be a philosophical question. Why they are going up or down, and not in different directions. So I would say that this is just design, how it is designed by creator to behave. So, but this is not scientific explanation.
Well, yeah, they have problems with up and down with the model. Like I don't personally have that. The problem that certain people have. And I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of people that are unaware of these problems that are induced by a ridiculous, impossible model that they're imagined to believe in, but they don't. They don't even know about it half of the time.
Yes, if they cannot really define things, and they are still talking about them, it means that they don't know what they are talking about. It's like talking about unicorns. So if you don't know what unicorn is because you didn't see unicorn, so talking about unicorns is just talking about nothing.
And where did you find that? That's hilarious. Mm. And what gets me is as well that the people that are in conversation within this arena, they're not normal, and I count myself in that arena, right? It's not normal to be talking to adults about straight lines and the basics of geometry. I'm pretty sure it's not normal at all.
I agree. I agree. Yes, it's no. It would be normal if you are talking to like a 6-year-old kid. So yes, that would be normal, but not with people like 50 years old. Well, what? So no, not. This is abnormal.
Never did I imagine that at this age I would be in this position talking to adults about such basic concepts of a straight line. And, you know, finding the formulation of a logical system that I should have been taught. I mean, I think mostly everybody uses some sort of a semblance of this logical idea and the processing, and it seems natural, right? That's, to me, it does anyway. But to other people, I don't know. I can't put myself in anybody else's position because I just don't. I don't know how to do that. I can't imagine what anybody else is going through in their minds. I have a trouble working out what's going on in my own mind.
In my opinion, this is sad that some people at this age, adult age, are considering as great achievement if they, for example, deny straight line being straight. For them, this is great achievement. Instead of inventing something really interesting and new and real, they are just denying simple things in geometry, in logic, and they are very proud of that. I don't understand that.
But they're having to deny arguments. They're having to deny the fact that the horizon is horizontal. They literally have to. Their model dictates that the horizon is not horizontal, and therefore you cannot have a horizontal that is parallel to the plane of the horizon. You can't even have a plane of a horizon on their model. Yet, in reality, we do. And it's used every day, that horizontal plane. And all of them being parallel. I mean, that's an obvious fact of reality. Yet, a group of people that, I don't know. Nathan's getting upset at Dave Weiss and Jaren and all that, talking to other people. Whereas it's so backwards to have to explain a ridiculous behavior and then a counter to that ridiculous behavior to normal people. Normal people will just hear crazy. And who's the one that tells them about the crazy shit? I don't want it to be me. I just talk to people about reality. I don't think there's any point in talking about some crazy thing that's absolutely impossible. You end up just talking about that crazy guy. And who becomes the crazy person then if you start discussing and talking about crazy people? I've been saying it for a bit. I think there's some tough times mentally for most people because this psychological thing that everybody's been put through just recently over the last few years is going to be tough for people to cope with. And on top of that, we're in an arena where I consider some of the biggest sophists. I came in to this arena because I was looking for why people wanted to hate on other people. And I found that there are literally people, sophists, parasophists, willing to deceive people. They seem to get a kick out of wanting people to be as deranged as they are. You urge people, learn a little bit of logic before it's too late. Because these guys are playing with your mind. And if you get too far into it, you're in danger of actually losing your mind.
That's why it is good to go back to basics. So, for example, discussing straight line is somehow fruitful because I can understand better geometry in that way. That if someone is questioning straight line being straight, I have to go to Euclid to search sources, what other people said about that, and I can learn more about straight line. So in that way, it is fruitful for me. Because then I can defend that better. So there is some good from that crazy discussions and crazy so-called debates for me.
That's what kept me in. Literally, some people saying stuff like that, and then the learning journey I went on to discover for myself that they were talking shit. Right now, I am actually now. I'm absolutely certain that when anybody says anything like that, they are completely ignorant of any sort of understanding of geometry. Geometry being the science of lines, straight lines, and how you can learn understanding, how you can gain knowledge through a straight line. And you'd be surprised how much you can get from that one single straight line. And a few basic known axioms, statements, rules, if you want. Common notations. It is, it's eye-opening and a great learning thing.
Yes, for example, the straight line. There are some things that in geometry are just very intuitive, like straight line. But for example, for people like Rumpus, it is not sufficient. So they are trying to redefine straight line, and then something that was obvious for me, I have to find and create proof against this statement that, for example, that straight can curve. So I have to refute that in logical way, and this is not so simple, because some things which are very intuitive, they are not always easy to explain. So firstly, I had hard time how to phrase argument against, for example, Rumpus, to defend position that straight cannot be curved, because of course this is obvious for us, because you can just draw straight line and curved line and say that they are different. But it's also good to disprove statement not by drawing, because this is just like black swan or demonstration, physical demonstration of straight line being straight and curved being curved. But to produce argument or refutation, logical refutation of that statement, this is other thing. So it is more difficult, because this is not drawing. It has to involve the process of refutation, logical refutation. This is more hard, even with these simple things as straight line. So I from that kind of stupid statements, I can also learn how to improve my argumentation.
I did as well. I did. The thing with that makes it difficult is that when you look at a straight line, you have to accept at some point that there is no definition for it. It's the same as one. These are elemental things that there isn't really a definition for, because they are the basis that you use to define other things. It's hard to define something that is the thing that defines others.
Yes. So it's like proving axioms. You cannot prove them, because these are obvious statements, facts of reality, and they are not provable. So yes, obvious things are very hard to prove, but also it is impossible to disprove them. So both ways it is difficult to prove or disprove. But still you can link that in first principles of reasoning to defend straight line, because straight line is about representation of physical reality, so you can link that to first principles of reasoning. This is the way I can prove that straight line is not curved. I think that I can prove that.
Yes, me too. In fact, I think that was one of the first things that I ever did for myself, was try and work out that process, how you can refute somebody who's stating that, that a contradiction is actually a contradiction, and how it cannot be true that a straight line could be curved.
Yes, this is a contradiction in terms, of course, but still it may be proven that straight line cannot be curved.
Absolutely.
So not by definition or
Yeah,
contradiction in terms, but this is impossible to produce straight line being curved in that way.
Yeah, it's a completely fabricated argument from a ridiculous, impossible model, right? To try and confuse people into being as confused as the people that are trying to give the argument in the first place, the non-argument. Because just stating that straight lines curve is a ridiculous statement, and it's definitely not an argument.
Yes, it shows only that person cannot discern between straight line and curved line. It means that this is that person has serious mental issues. That's it.
Well, they're doing it at the minute about the horizon. And they're saying that it needs to be demonstrated. I mean, I said you could definitely demonstrate that all horizontals are parallel to the plane of the horizon. That's easily done. Now, I don't personally believe that me demonstrating it to them will make them any more clear about it. I think they definitely won't make a difference, but I say to them that they can demonstrate it to themselves, but they won't, because they don't want to come to that conclusion that it's definitely done. They're just going to keep on gaslighting now, because that's all it is. They're just going to keep gaslighting that it can't be demonstrated that all horizontals are parallel to the plane of the horizon, when it obviously can be demonstrated. That's the position that they're in. There's a lot of people that are in that position now. They're lost. They've been pushed into a position where the given paralogisms, there's no reasoning process behind them. They just have to gaslight everybody else into thinking the same thing. And that's going with something with no proof of it. Just words of shadow giants.
And they dare to call it science. So this offends me, really. Bullshit stories called science. This offends me, yes, personally.
Yes. Well, I think that's what we're here for, isn't it? To point that out. I am, personally, anyway, because they've these guys have been telling me, and they've told my son as well, blatant lies. And if they're willing to tell me and my son these things, then they're willing to push these paralogisms anywhere. They say it publicly. They're quite willing to say these ridiculous statements publicly. To me, anyway, on my Twitter. I'm just hoping that eventually we'll be able to get to have a conversation with them. Like we're doing now, and how to come across and get across these ridiculous statements. They know who they are. Talking about the people on Twitter. And Blue Marble's going to have the conversation. Maybe Nathan Oakley wants to have the conversation. He doesn't like science. See, because there's a problem with the way Nathan Oakley considers science and what we consider science. Because I personally would consider both logic and geometry part of science. I would say they are the fundamental keystone to science, to learning how to understand things. I'm not so sure whether Nathan would be the same. I don't know.
I would say that, for example, if you have law theory, it is hardly linked to geometry, but still it is using logic. So I would say that everything what is linked with logic is somehow linked with science, because this is our tool to gain knowledge. In our mind, we have tool, logic, and of course, geometry expresses that. This is one of the ways how logic is expressed. So, and the same in arithmetics and music and astronomy. Basic is logic. So that's why I cannot agree with that statement that it has to be linked with experiment or observing phenomenon. In physics, yes, but physics is not the only science in this world. So I would say that everything that gives you that can produce syllogism giving knowledge is science. Everything.
I would agree. But again, the topic should be up for conversation. I mean, I'd love to have the conversation with Nathan about those sort of things.
Yes, because I think it's mainly about terminology. So it would be rather discussion about etymology of the word and meaning of this word, really. So yes, what does it mean? Because in that meaning that it belongs only to physics, I say that this is too much narrowed, because this word has wide meaning. It is linked with, of course, always with logic, but not only logic working in physical world. This narrowing to physics only, I would disagree. I can say that today. the same thing would be with, for example, natural phenomenon. This is a term that I would disagree with Nathan Oakley because for him, it seems that if someone is producing some device and this device is doing something, it means that this is not creating a natural phenomenon. Therefore, you cannot use that to prove anything. So I would disagree with that also. If I properly understood his position on that topic. I am not sure, but this is what I think that he thinks. So this is open to discussion because maybe I something understood wrongly.
Yeah, the only way you would be able to find out is through having a discussion about it, which I'm open for. Open to.
All right, have to go off. Thank you very much. Good night.
Okay. Thank you very much. Always a good discussion. Who's gonna pick up for paper then? We got Rob. He's always listening to the Discord, to the YouTube. Just wondering what Rob was thinking of it. Right. No. Although we might be finishing pretty soon. I don't know. But now paper's gone. It's all gone quiet. Time to pick up the slack, Emma. Come on. Time to talk shit. It's getting late, isn't it?
You need to be more specific. What kind of shit?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, I would pick up the slack, but I got a glow party to go to with baby girl.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds fun.
A glow party, did you say? That sounds amazing.
Let's see. Glow party.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, look at you.
Oh, baby girl. Come here.
Oh my goodness. That is gorgeous.
All right. She's in a glowing tutu.
That is.
Glowing
Why didn't they have one of those when I was a little girl?
I don't know.
Here, you
She coached me in the other day, snuck it in on me. Daddy, can you go to the glow party with me? Yeah, baby. I forgot to ask which day.
Have you got your tutu?
No, I got my green necklace. Match my eyes.
I think you should wear a tutu.
Yeah, I think you should have one as well. Get in the spirit of it.
Well, I can't pull a Tina. Yeah. So, like I said, in a lot of ways, enjoy and gotta enjoy life when life come to you. Always ups and downs. Stay focused.
One word, Bev, race.
Yeah, it's 10 minutes yet.
Okay.
Mobius going. Yeah, it's been an interesting week this week. I think it does sound like it's about time for us to be wrapping this up. This week I've we've been going over the simplicity of it with an argument that we've developed because paper was saying we get down to simple and you can learn a lot from simplifying things. So we've made an argument that states quite simply that horizontals are parallel to the plane of the horizon, which that's the way where the word horizontal comes from. Yeah. The group of people that we're involved with are telling us that that's not correct. I'm not going to go into why. I'll leave them to say why. I think it's just right for us to be saying what is true. And that is that all horizontals are parallel. Obviously so. Yet this fantastic group of people like to presume that because their model dictates something, they have to go with that. And then they think then they can just consider that they're mocking people who say that all horizontals are parallel. And here's the geometric proof of that. And I think we are getting into the bit now where they are actually deceiving people on their own side as well. Because there's some ridiculous statements that have come from all of this. Anybody else got any other final words? Because I don't know where we're meant to be going with this tonight. Free for all. No? Okie dokie. This weekend, as always, we'll be in Discord. All of us. And if you want to come in and have a conversation about it, hopefully Buster will be around and we can get some of the talking about geometry and the music, linking all of that together. So if you want to come and get involved, like always, come in and get in these conversations. We're trying to further the actual conversation for everyone. And the only way that happens is if people come and get involved with the conversation. So, anybody got any Buster? You know, you don't understand LIGO. We've not had any of that for a bit. So thanks for watching. And we'll be back on Monday. You never know. We might be doing a live show or two over the weekend. Whatever's needed, we'll do it. As always, thanks for watching. minute.
You call it the triangle axiom.
I do, yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Right, so you've managed to confuse a lot of people within that argument. Weird times, buddy. Because like you weren't trying to say that all horizontals are not parallel because you can draw a cross on a piece of paper.
I was temporarily agreeing.
That wasn't the argument.
For fuck's sake.
Because some people have took it as though that is.
I'm sorry. A separate discussion. Happy to talk about that one day. What I originally suggested, and Mike knows this, Mike Jones. Yeah. We agreed we'd sort of discuss the fifth postulate first. You call it the triangle last time.
I do, yeah.
I discussed the swimming pool. Thank you, Mike. Question.
Weird times, buddy.
Don't understand.
Be quiet. Swimming pool. Thank you, Mike. Question.
You don't understand.
For fuck's sake. I'm sorry. Thank you, Mike.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn.
Thank you, Mike.
You're just on your own.
Well, that I hold to be a self-evident. You call it the triangle axiom.
I do, yeah. Because it's got just about a triangle,
So,
yeah.
The question is, why did you include that axiom? You call it the triangle axiom. That postulate
I do, yeah.
Axiom. Why did you include that at all? You call it the triangle axiom.
I do, because it sort of shows that triangles have 180 degrees, right? Or the sum of two right angles.
You know? So
Later
you're
to
saying,
change to 180.
how does it show? Well, yeah, it does. I mean, you can prove that, but why did he include that? You call it the triangle axiom. If you can...
Oh, you can prove it?
Be quiet. If you can prove that triangles have... You call it the triangle axiom. The sum of the angles is two right angles. Why would you need... For fuck's sake. Sorry, that's my question. You call it the triangle axiom.
You don't understand.
You call it the triangle axiom.
You don't understand.
I was temporarily agreeing. Be quiet.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn.
You know?
You're just on your own.
For fuck's sake. I'm sorry. Horizontal lines can easily not be... Just as I suggested, you just sort of get a horizontal line. That I hold to be a self-evident truth. You put two crossing lines on them, and by definition, any two lines, straight lines on a horizontal plane, are themselves horizontal. You might. So that's the problem. You can't. Well, it's not really a problem. Yeah,
It's not a problem because there's only three straight lines. How fucking difficult can it be?
Point again is that you cannot prove it. A lot of people, you call it the triangle axiom. Millennia thought you could prove the fifth postulate. You call it the triangle axiom. The question is, do we need the enclosure axiom? Yeah, not on the globe hypothesis. I received opinions we don't need it because postulate one will do the job for you. And look, Bev, I simply wanted to ask you why you think the postulate's there, and you have explained that. And you have explained that. Not on the globe hypothesis. That I hold to be a self-evident truth. I'm sorry.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn.
Be quiet.
You're just on your own.
I'll be perfectly honest. I'm sure there are better people back at the other place, the blue place, who can prove this. And we're happy to talk to you.
No logic, no wisdom, no worries.
And you have explained that.
You're just on your own.
You know.
Logic, no answers to questions.
And you have explained that.
You're just on your own.
Right? That I hold to be a self-evident.
It's a self-evident truth of reality that all triangles, in reality, have 180 or the sum of two right angles.
Be quiet. Not on the globe. Well, it's an assumption. For fuck's sake.
It's not an assumption, is it?
Sorry. For Euclid, it was an assumption because he knew he couldn't prove it. There was a huge debate which went on for centuries. You call it the triangle axiom.
What, that he couldn't prove that triangles have 180
They tried.
degrees?
They thought there was a question: is the fifth postulate? You call it the triangle axiom. Triangle axiom. Is it self-evident or not? A huge debate.
Weird times, buddy.
Thank you, Mike.
Weird times, buddy. You've brought an argument into a group of people that aren't ready for it.
Be quiet. You cannot. Euclidean geometry. You call it the triangle axiom. It does not follow. It doesn't work. Not on the globe. I don't need it as an assumption because we can prove it. You can prove it from the first postulate. For fuck's sake. Horizontal lines can easily not be. You can just, as I suggested, you just sort of get a horizontal plane, right? Thank you, Mike. You put two crossing lines on them, and by definition, any two lines, straight lines on a horizontal plane, are themselves horizontal. For fuck's sake, I'm sorry.
You don't understand.
Well, that I hold to be a self-evident truth. For fuck's sake.
You don't understand.
If you could prove it, it wouldn't be a postulate,
It's
would it?
not my problem if you don't want to learn. You're just on your own.
You call it the triangle axiom.
I do, yeah, because he's got just about a triangle, yeah.
The question is, why did Euclid include that axiom? You call it the triangle. That's postulate or axiom. Why did he include that at all? Thank you, Mike.
Because it sort of shows that triangles have 180 degrees, right? Or the sum of two right angles.
But not on the globe. So
80
you're
to
saying,
2.
for fuck's sake, how does it show? Sorry, how does it show? Well, yeah, it does. I mean, you can prove that, but why did he include that? Be quiet. If you can.
Oh, you can prove it.
You call it the triangle axiom. If you can prove that triangles have the sum of the angles is two right angles, why would you need postulate? That's my question. I will not verbally disagree with it. What goes on in my own head is my own business. I do not believe that. Be quiet.
You don't understand.
You call it the triangle axiom. For fuck's sake, I'm sorry.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn. You're just on your own.
Yourself, don't tell me to be quiet.
You have a horizontal plane, and any straight line not on the globe must itself be horizontal. That I hold to be a self-evident truth. Yeah, not on the globe hypothesis. I was temporarily agreeing.
Right, so you've managed to confuse a lot of people within that argument.
I was temporarily agreeing.
Because like you weren't trying to say that all horizontals are not parallel because you can draw
not on the
a cross
globe.
on a piece of paper, are you?
Thank you, Mike.
That wasn't the argument.
Not on the globe.
Because some people have took it as though that is.
For fuck's sake. Separate discussion. Happy to talk about that one day.
Yourself, don't tell me to be quiet.
Point again is that you cannot prove it. A lot of people, you call it the triangle axiom. Centuries, millennia, thought you could prove the fifth postulate. You call it the triangle axiom from the preceding thought. Be quiet. I was temporarily agreeing. Not on the globe. You call it the triangle axiom. Not on the globe.
It's not my problem if you don't want to learn.
Be quiet.
Just on your own.
That I hold to be a self-evident truth. For fuck's sake, I'm sorry.
No reason, no logic, no wisdom, no worries.
And you have explained that.
You're just on your own.
Not on the globe, you know.
No reason, no logic, no answers to a question.
And you have explained that.
You're just on your own.
Betty, do you believe the water surface is a horizontal plane of reference?
It's a horizontal plane, possibly, but not on the globe. Let's assume.
Thank you.
The surface of either swimming pool, a horizontal establishes a horizontal plane of reference, right? Let's assume.
Thank you.
The surface of either swimming pool establishes a horizontal plane of reference, right? It's not really a problem.